All right, here we are. So, welcome, first of all. And Callie and I just want to do a really quick introduction in case there's some people on here that don't know either one of us. So I'm Lindsay Cruz, and I am one of the co-owners of Bellaflex. And I have been a virtual coach for, oh my gosh, it's been almost 2 years now, which is crazy. But over since the pandemic, solely virtual, and work on strength and nutrition, and really excited to share with you guys a little bit of what Callie and I have been diving into lately. Girl.
All right. I'm Callie Henryan. I have been doing virtual coaching. Gosh, I can't believe it actually is almost a year now. Time goes by so fast. And also previously worked as an RN for like 11 years. So doing some in-person, more nutrition coaching that way. But excited to be moving on with Bellaflex and all that we're doing here. And yeah, excited to share this with you guys tonight. So should be fun.
Yeah, so part of our passion behind Bellaflex, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard all of this, but there's definitely a stigma out there where women in particular, and you guys know, like, we work with a lot of women, almost like 90% of our clients are women. And so our focus is on, trying to fight that diet culture and what that means. And it's a powerful thing. It is something that is ingrained in a lot of us, that was ingrained from our moms, from childhood, from, that we've carried on. Big emotional baggage there as well. So what we decided to do is to further educate ourselves. So we have begun studying some really interesting things with a strong focus on mindset, women's health, hormones, a whole slew of other courses that we're going to be going through. So, this is just one of our major like brain dumps that we've had recently, but expect more definitely in the future. So just wanted to give you guys kind of like the current what's going on over here on the coaches side. But we shared with you guys a little bit of our why. And for me personally, I know that I have a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of you guys all out there that really believe and trust in me as your coach. And I want to make sure that I am fulfilling that and constantly, improving upon myself so that I can then pass that on to you all.
Good. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had more. Sorry. Zoom's always so awkward. At least for me. Yeah, so kind of going off the same thing that Lindsay's saying, like, I want to make sure that I am here for, whether you're my client or not, here for you 100%. If you have a question, I can answer it. And we're asking all of you to take the steps every single day to make yourselves better. And I think it's really important that we walk the walk. And part of us getting better is taking these courses, continuing our education, learning more and more as we go along, and then sharing it on with you so that you can continue your journey. Excuse me. So that's what, makes me so passionate about continuing on and learning this stuff.
Absolutely. And one of the things that has come up most recently, we give you a little teaser about the Triangle of Awareness, which has like a really long name. Maybe we'll come up with something cuter and catchier in the future. But when Callie and I both saw this, like, I feel like light bulbs and fireworks and like everything went off, right? Because not only did it strike us as a coach, but personally, right? Like, it got us thinking about our own goals and our own selves and what we've been doing. So what I would like to do is I'm going to share with you guys the triangle, the Bermuda Triangle. No, not really. All right, let's make sure. I don't want to block everybody. I think that's good. So This is the upgraded triangle, and you can see here that there's a lot of different numbers. The numbers really don't mean anything specifically, like one is better than number 36, only for us to give you guys a point of reference for you to tell us exactly where you're falling on this triangle. And the whole awareness part of it is really realizing that as far as health goes, there's really like three main components that people really think about. One being performance. So how you perform in the gym, how you perform running a race, your athletic performance, right? Two being aesthetics, how you look when you look in the mirror, whether you have a six pack or not, things like that, right? And then longevity. So living a long, happy, healthy, balanced life is really where the longevity comes in. And when you think about healthy people, they typically fall in one of those categories and sometimes somewhere in between, right? And so for us, realizing that the whole awareness behind this is that you cannot be the supreme being in all of these categories at once. There's nobody on the planet is top level performance, aesthetics, and longevity. You might look at them and say, oh yeah, they're muscular, they must be super healthy, whatever that means. You know, the word healthy is such a broad term. And you might think like, okay, they've got it all, right? But just to give you a little of an example, and Cal, I don't know if you want to jump in here of some examples of like what someone at like the one, this number right up here at the very top, right, of performance.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So just for performance, just as an example, like I personally like used to follow a whole lot of like figure competitors, and their main thing, I guess that's more aesthetics. Let's go aesthetics. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped into the wrong thing. But so their main thing is like what their body looks like, getting as lean as they possibly can, as muscular as they possibly can. And I would think like, oh, like they look great, they must be so healthy, like they're awesome. But then so many of them have come out and said like, I was miserable during that time, but they were willing to sacrifice for attaining that like peak aesthetic goal. So they were like a 36, but they weren't healthy. Like even myself, when I've gone for more aesthetics, like there comes a certain point I start losing my hair because I'm getting too lean, or I'm not getting all the nutrients in that I need. So that's like one extreme, and you're giving up a lot of in the health or longevity department and in the performance because you're not fueling your body the way that you need to. So then if you take like an Olympic athlete who is all about performance, they don't care necessarily how they look at all, but they're fueling their bodies to run the fastest, jump the highest, like do whatever they need to perform well in their sport, in the gym, whatever the case may be. And then moving over to longevity, like there's so many different points along the scale that can be considered healthy, but you're not necessarily going to have a six pack. People think that that's healthy, seeing that leanness, but really like, 20 to 25% body fat for a woman is very, very healthy, but you will not have a six pack by any stretch of the imagination. So there's a big balance and realizing like what it actually takes to reach each of those like peak goals and what falls somewhere in between. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that, discovering where you fall on this awareness triangle is really eye-opening and very important for you to share with us as your coaches, because you might jump into a program with us and say, I really want to lose weight, become stronger, and I don't want high cholesterol anymore, and I don't want diabetes, and I don't want all these things. And that really kind of lands you right here in the middle, right? And that's fine. Like those are all really great, amazing goals. But for you to really excel and exceed at any one of those, you need to pick seasons is kind of the way we're looking at it. So if you think of basketball season, right, that we're coming up into, like it's the same thing for yourself. If you're looking at your weight loss season, you come in and out of that season. There's a preseason, there's a postseason, there's an off season. All of those things are really important, and to know that you could cycle through some of these things. So I think what I would like you guys to do, who have all joined in, and then anybody watching this, is really, let's just take a moment and really look at this triangle. Think about your why. Why did you come to us at Bellaflex? Why are you getting up at 5:30 in the morning every morning to go to the gym? Like what is driving you? Is it performance? And if so, maybe it's performance and longevity. And where do you fall on the scale, knowing that the closer you get to longevity, you're giving up some of performance, right? Not to say that you're not going to get stronger, and not to say that if you work out 5 days a week that you're not going to lose some weight. Like those things happen as well. But I think that being aware and knowing that you can't be this extreme, you can't be Mr. Olympia and be, a bodybuilder and live to 110 all at the same time. When I was on vacation most recently this last summer in St. Lucia, there was this poster on the bar, and I took a picture of it. I'll have to share it with you guys. And it was so funny and so true. But I obviously don't want to promote it as I'm like trying to talk about health and fitness and whatnot. But it basically said, like, the guy that invented the treadmill lived to like 45. The guy that invented some type of like health food, he lived to be, it was like 65. But like these other people who you would typically consider, unhealthy or more of just like enjoying life. It was all about like, having that drink, relaxing, de-stressing. Like those are the people that live the longest. I thought that was like really eye-opening, and like listed all these people, like the best NFL player ever, like lived to be, 62 or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting, knowing that those people have given up pieces of this pie in order to achieve their goals. And none of them are right or wrong, to be perfectly honest. So I don't know if you guys want or have any questions or want to share, or even just kind of like talk through this with us. And know too that, any like one-on-one, like personal goals that you, as far as like, we're not going to tell you right now, you have to eat X amount of calories, right? But if anybody would like to share, like, feel free. This is the chance to ask questions. And if not, I'm going to grill Callie.
Uh-oh.
So Cal, where do you currently fall on this chart? Have you thought about it?
I have a little bit. I like flip-flop back and forth. I'm going to say right now, I probably fall around
stuff
like a 7-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's closer to performance, and definitely halfway between longevity and aesthetics, right? 'Cause you're right down the middle there.
Yeah.
Is there something that you are specifically training for currently?
Yeah. So, I'm doing the TSC next weekend, and then in December I have a powerlifting meet that I'm doing. So, and then just generally during the winter, I kind of treat that as my like massing, like just I treat it as a performance phase in general, just because I'm not out in my swimsuit. I don't care as much. I still want to like keep it, reasonable, but
Sure.
yeah, so just easier to focus on not doing aesthetics so much.
Absolutely. And so since Callie is up here and near the performance chart, I would say to you, like, Cal, you're okay with, if, whatever your current weight is, if you gain 5 pounds over the next, like, whatever our cycle is, maybe 12 weeks, 16 weeks, you're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that you need to fuel your performance, and fuel means food. All those people at that high level performance, they are burning through massive amounts of calories and their recovery phase. So know that you'll be in a calorie surplus. Like, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I definitely am. I think in the past I would not have been, but this actually really helps put things into perspective as far as like staying focused on what my goal is. So like I've actually already gained like probably 4 or 5 pounds in the last month, just like I'm eating like a horse. So
Yep.
or a rhino or whatever eats a lot. I don't know. So yeah, like now knowing like, okay, I'm seeing my performance in the gym really go up. Like I was telling you earlier, like I got my first one arm push up today. Like my deadlifts are going up. My pull ups are the best they've ever been, even with gaining a little bit of weight. So it makes it really worth it to be fueling my body the way I need to, and then also being able to see this and be like, okay, yeah, that's like what I'm doing it for. I'll get back to the aesthetics and kind of continue balancing the longevity between the two.
Yeah.
Like,
And just like you said, like all those markers
yeah,
or even biofeedback, like things in our life that we are going to measure based on where your goals are. And so for you, I would never say, hey, let's weigh yourself every day. I mean, if that's something that keeps you moving forward, like that's awesome. But
mm-hmm.
is it important right now? No, not at all. But are you hitting your goals? Are you, have you increased your deadlift weight? Like those are going to be the biofeedback that we're really looking for as you lean yourself closer to performance, right? And so with longevity, we're not saying that because you're in this performance phase that you're going to develop all these like diseases or something, especially when you're in the 7. You're probably still, eating pretty clean, right? For the
Yeah.
majority of it. You're focused on, fruits and vegetables and great sources of protein. I mean, protein would be really, really, really important here. So you were never saying that you can't have little pieces of these things, but knowing that your goal is closer towards performance, making sure you're tracking the right things, that you are giving yourself the right feedback. Like it's so counterproductive. And I think so many people, including myself, like this is a big mental obstacle to get over, to know that like I want to get stronger right now, and that's going to take pieces away from other things, right? So for me personally right now, so I'm kind of on the cusp. I'm probably right now a little bit closer to performance. Like I wish there was like a something right in between the
Five and a
3 and the
half.
7. Like I really like that's probably where I'm at right now, right in
Yeah.
between the 3 and the 7, because I never really fully let go of either one of those. Being type 1 diabetic, it's just something I can't freaking shake for the life of me. If I could say, oh, screw it, I don't care how long I live, but you know what, I'm insulin dependent, so I got to care a little bit, right? I got to be kind of in the middle. And then there's another piece of me too that's like, you know what, if my jeans get a little bit too tight, I'm probably going to freak out as well, right? But I'm absolutely in the same boat as you. I am driving myself towards um, doing my level 2 as well, and getting back to my barbell skills, recertifying that as well. So I'm definitely, my main point is like, all right, where's my deadlift at, right? Where's my overhead press? Like that's the feedback that I'm really looking for right now in my triangle. But as soon as those holidays hit, it is so much more important to me to be closer to that longevity, meaning some balance, some like de-stressing, some, fun family times, things like that. So mine definitely shifts. And as you should. I don't think anyone should be in a fat loss period. So say you're closer to aesthetics or losing weight, like that all falls into the aesthetics category. you shouldn't be in a fat loss phase for years on end. Even working towards that is such a major stressor on your body.
Well, and if you think about people who are constantly trying to lose weight and are in a fat loss, quote unquote, fat loss phase, they're not actually losing that much weight, if any. And typically people are gaining it back because they're like yo-yoing back and forth because it's such an extreme thing. Their body can't handle it. It's too stressful. Or when you stay in that long of a calorie deficit, like your body eventually adapts. Like there's a reason that people who are in countries that are starving, I mean, eventually some people do die of starvation, obviously, but like there's a reason that they're able to go on for so long because their bodies adapt to the minimal number of calories that they're consuming. So there comes a point when it's not going to be effective anyway. You need to give your body the nourishment, nutrients, the calories, everything to function properly. And then it'll be like, it's okay. I can let some of this fat go. So there's that balance too.
That homeostasis, right? Is such a big fancy word for basically, bringing your body back into balance. Kind of like we talked about with that basketball player. When he is in season, it's performance, performance, performance. But I guarantee you, postseason is let's relax, let's take a moment. I'm not necessarily going to be, shooting 10,000 layups a day, whatever it is. You have to find those moments, and for each person, it's different. I mean, that's really the beauty behind working with a coach and knowing, like, okay, it's time to pull back. Like, we need to season into, whatever it is, and really find your homeostasis, so your point where your body is like, okay, I have enough stressors, or a major life event happens and you need to pull back. Your body cannot handle that constant stress because, like Cal said, it's eventually going to stop giving you the results that you want.
Yeah. And even, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This is just a little bit of a continuation of that, but even, I know it kind of was picking on the aesthetics of the fat loss, but I was actually talking to someone the other day about the performance side of it too. Like, you can't be a drag car. Like, there's a reason that they explode in like a quarter mile sometimes because they're going like pedal to the metal like all the time. So you have to, performance wise, there's seasons as well. Like, all of it has seasons. It's not just the fat loss phases. So I kind of picked on that, I feel like, but like everything needs to have like an ebb and flow in your life to find that balance and to allow for progress. So
yeah, longevity might be the only one where you could probably stay in that homeostasis period for a pretty long time, I would imagine. You'd have to be really damn strict. I would imagine. I don't know. That person is definitely not me. I imagine this person to be like the number 26 there, to be that person that's just like lives their life on the beach and catches their fish every day and eats fruits and veggies and whatever,
like walks in the sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. That's number 26 for me. But you guys with us, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to jump in and say?
I would say something.
Hey, Beck, how are you?
Hi, good. I was really thinking that when I first started training with kettlebells, it was all about aesthetics in my mind. I mean, I'd like to pretend that maybe it was longevity, but I really just wanted to lose weight and all that. But that's not motivating enough for the long haul. And the performance side of it is really what has kept me interested and wanting to keep going. So I like that you break out the 3 different pieces of it, but I think it changes over time too. Like your evolution and knowing what you're capable of and what motivates you for the future, rather than, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think just being more aware of where you're at and what motivates you really helps you keep going.
Absolutely. And exactly what you're saying is part of that periodization. And you know, we can give it in finite terms and say, oh, it's like your 12-week season, right? But it could be your year, and then the next year, like things could change and shift. Like that's the beauty of understanding this, because I think that if we don't, that's where all the yo-yoing comes in. It's like our
Right.
body is like pulling us that direction. Like you've been doing, you know, whatever it is, Whole30 for 30 days, and you've lost weight, and then suddenly like you feel this pull, and instead of acknowledging it and really like coming into maintenance mode is usually the way I classify it. Our body forces us there, and then it's
Right.
this yo-yo that we're super unhappy with, rather than finding that homeostasis and having that moment. You know, it's kind of like a vacation away from whatever your current goal is, and whether it's weight loss or performance or even longevity. So it does, it changes all the
And,
time.
and shifting the focus away from weight loss for me is so beneficial, because it's just it's just always been on your mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, realizing that you really can do all this for, you know, to be stronger and to all that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking for weight loss. And I don't know, it's motivating.
That's awesome. I love that. And I do think that there comes a time where, you know, you could shift into some weight loss and be like, whoa, like I think when you start a new program, like that almost happens naturally, right? That you like
Yeah.
lose weight right away, because we've been in sort of our own sort of homeostasis, and then we break you out of it. And then you get frustrated because it doesn't continue to work the same way, right? But we haven't allowed our bodies or even our minds. I think too, we put a lot of stress on ourselves. Something that they had said, that I was like, oh yeah, right. Like everyone is so stressed. Americans are like chronically stressed, and the things that should cause stress, like real danger and harm, aren't even there. So we're putting all this additional stress on us when we're not being chased by a lion, right? Like we're not in imminent danger where our bodies should feel that way. But coming in and out of that, I think that's really like the key thing that we've picked up. You know, I know even for myself, like it's always been a constant struggle to tell someone like, hey, like, you know, I hear your frustration, and this is what we have to do. And we have to find the point where your body's like, okay, I can eat this amount of calories, right? And maybe your sleep gets a little bit better. Or maybe like you're drinking a lot more water, your movement, like something else can shift and kind of fill in that stressor, because all of those things to our body, they do cause a lot of stress, and to have them all at once is a lot.
Yep.
Cool. I'm glad I brought this up to Becky like last week, so she's had a lot of time to stew on it.
I know, it's really making my brain hurt thinking about it, because I don't know where I am on the triangle. And I think that it shifts from day to day.
Yeah, you know what? And it might, you know, especially until you really like dig deep into, if I were to say to you that you know, because I know that Becky's working on snatches, right? If I would say, Becky, tomorrow you can do a 5-minute snatch test with a 20-kilogram bell, or you could lose 3 or 4 pounds. Like, which one would you pick? Maybe that's like the way to determine like that. Maybe start with the biofeedback, the thing that like you really, really want, and work your way back up the other, you know, work your way back to the direction that you want to go in.
If you make it 10 pounds, I'd take it, but 3 or 4, I mean, a 20-kilogram bell, damn, I could, like, that'd be amazing. I would do that.
So you would pick 10 pounds over doing a high performance something. So that's, you know,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not, because then I could talk about that I did the snatch test with 20 for like my whole life.
Right.
So Yeah, plus I'm trying to get my FSG1, so that would be amazing. Yeah, I would totally take that.
Absolutely. And if that's your end goal right now, like, all right, we're driving it in, like that's what needs to be done, right? Some of those other things that, you know, we might be measuring or thinking about, like they're gonna take a little bit of the back seat. Not that you want to gain 30 pounds or anything, but like that's not going to be the high performance.
It's kind of freeing that you don't have to think about all three things at once. Like you could just really focus on one. You don't, it's like giving you permission to just focus on this rather than, oh, I gotta like up my performance plus lose weight. It's too much.
I can't even tell you like how many intake forms like we've taken in, and I check off all those things. It's really, you know, disheartening for your goals to be those and then never being able to achieve it. So cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Oh, sorry, I just saw something in the chat. Why zebra goods don't get ulcers. Allison, hop on real quick. I want to tell me about it.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's just to your point of the stress that was being talked about. You know, like zebras sleep in the jungle with lions, right? And they don't stress out. Like they only stress out when a lion is chasing them, is the premise of the book. So the book is all about how chronic stress is impacting our world and impacting individuals, whether it's, you know, health related, which is mainly the gist of the book. It's health related, but it's great. It's a really fantastic book about today's day and age and how our brain has slipped to chronic stress as a disease causer. So threw it in there because that's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, I love it. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because I love the title. That's fun.
It's so good.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. And like I said, anybody who's going to be watching this in the future or currently watching this, like definitely want you guys to really think about where you're at right now, knowing that it can change, that it can shift and move and head in different directions, and have that conversation with your coach, whether it's myself or Callie. We want to be on the same page so that, you know, we're not putting you in a calorie deficit and you want to go run a marathon, right? So have an awesome night. Cal, did you want to add anything here at the end?
No, I just appreciate you guys coming on, watching, whether you're here live or taking the time out of your day at some point in the future. And please reach out, like whether it's to your coach, one of us, or on Bellaflex Friends group on Facebook. Like, I think these are great conversations to have with each other too, and just finding perspective from the support system that we're building. So, you know, don't be afraid to talk to each other. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Please, we appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.